currently have. I've got a little bit of a predicament of my own at the moment. So we live in Birmingham, and the city centre has a congestion charge. The congestion charge basically means my car is no longer allowed in the city centre because I currently own a 1999 Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, like I don't even understand how he's managed to come this far with a 1999 Ford Fiesta.
Veronica,
I've been in his car. I've heard some of the problems he's had with his car. The fact his car still runs is an absolute miracle.
But
just saying,
this brings me to my my car dilemma. So I need to buy a new car, right? That's a normal thing to do. I only want a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, he won't look at a Sea, he won't look at a Toyota or a Vauxhall or any of the others. He's obsessed with Ford Fiestas and nothing else.
Yeah, I don't like cars. What I like is familiarity. So I'm very much in like a space of being like, yeah, I mean, we could go and I could buy a new car. I could buy like something that looks really nice. But it's like, but then it wouldn't be what I'm used to. And I just think I'm autistic.
Okay, but get this though. He won't have anything other than a Ford Fiesta yet. What's his car he really wants to get by the end of it?
Land Rover.
How do you justify that? They're totally different sort of vehicles.
I don't know. I feel like if I want to go big, I'm going big. You know?
So Land Rover Discovery is?
Yeah, it'll be great. But the actual, the reason why we're talking about cars is obviously the Fast and Furious. My problem with Fast and Furious is that, as clear from that story, I don't like cars.
Yeah.
So I don't really care about it. We went to see the latest Fast and Furious film in the cinema, and I was bored. I was honestly bored. Like, as much as I do enjoy action films, and I get it, it's like, it just seemed way too over the top. There wasn't really much... I think, because I haven't watched all of them, there's not as much continuity. Continuity.
I know what you're saying.
But I don't. I can't remember what the word is. It does. I don't know the story, basically, and because of that, it makes it very difficult for me to follow it, and the over-the-top action doesn't really seem worth it for me.
That's understandable. Like, I'm at a point where, so with my films, because I get really picky when it comes to stories, so I have to now just enjoy films for the sake of enjoying it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't mind over-the-top action, except for when it's done with really crappy CGI. So as long as, like, I can watch the film and just enjoy cars getting blown up and race at ridiculous speeds in ridiculous scenarios, like, I'm down with that, because it's not something I've got to think too much about or focus on. It's just to sit and relax and just, like, cool.
That annoys me. That doesn't relax me. That stresses me out. Like, currently, trying to buy a car, I know how goddamn expensive they are. And why are you blowing them up? Like, no. They cost so much money.
So, one of the cars used, it's a very iconic scene where he jumps a car from one building to the other in Dubai. Do you know the scene I'm referring to?
Of course I don't.
Okay. So there's a car used in, I think it's Fast and Furious 7 or 6, where Dom jumps a car, which is the Lykan Hypersport, from one building to the other in order to get a chip. The thing about this car is there is only 7 of those cars in the world. Each of those 7 cars are different, purely down to the different components used in them. So they have diamonds for the LED headlights, they've got a holographic display and things like that. But they switch them up. And I thought that was absolutely, the Lykan Hypersport looks amazing. But what they used for it was actually a Ford Fiesta with the shell of a Lykan Hypersport.
You telling me they blew up a Ford Fiesta?
Yes.
That just upset me. That's my favourite car.
So that's how they pulled that off, because there's no in how they were getting their hands on an actual Lykan Hypersport. But yeah, little interesting fact there.
Alright, we'll move on from Fast and Furious, because it's just making me feel bad about my life. So the next series that we're going to talk about is it's a fan favourite. People love nerdy stuff, and it's Harry Potter, which is it's good, I guess.
I still have the original hardback copies of the books.
The books are great. Like, I don't dispute that. I think the books are incredible, and the movies are alright. Like, I watched them as a kid, and I really enjoyed them as a kid, but like watching them back now, I'm kind of a bit more like, it's not as good as I remember it to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Again, so this was something that, for its time, looked astonishing.
Yeah.
But if you watch it back now, you look at some of the CGI things, and you're just like, Looks a bit naff. I'm not gonna lie, the dragon still looks sick though.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. But I've not watched any of the extended universe, so you know, all this Fantastic Beasts stuff.
Okay, so it's not really extended universe, I'd say. I mean, do watch them, they're quite good in their own right. What I like about Fantastic Beasts is that it's more of a prequel to certain characters that are in Harry Potter franchise.
I see.
So you get to delve more into Dumbledore's backstory, and I think they're bringing Voldemort into it. It's kind of being teased, but it's like even the Fantastic Beasts. I think I prefer the Fantastic Beasts over the Harry Potter franchise. I know it's shorter, but it's been a lot more entertaining. It's had a lot more going on, and it seems to be a lot more grittier. Whereas at certain points you start to realise that Harry Potter is just an annoying whiny kid.
Yeah, but at the end, he's a kid, isn't he? Like, I think that's what made Harry Potter so good for me. Because although I'm saying it's relatable, kid has a fucking wand and does magic and stuff. But
it was like every kid's dream, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was the fact that after everything that had happened, like he got brought up in a really bad way. He had a bad childhood, and then suddenly he got to go to this magic school where he got to learn all of this stuff. And then every time he went there, every single term, for some reason, there was a load of danger.
I mean, he was basically Matilda of the Wizarding World.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was a really good series of films, not series as in TV show. I would definitely recommend it to people that haven't watched it, but I also feel like if you haven't watched it, you've missed your entire childhood.
It's such an iconic thing. It's so integrated into pop culture now. So it'd be quite weird if you haven't watched it. To be honest, at this point,
it's got a massive fandom, like a humongous
definitely.
fandom.
They did release the sequel to the actual Harry Potter mainline franchise, which was Cursed Child. So I haven't read the book itself, but I've read the story behind it, so I know what happens there. And I know they pushed that on to do a Broadway show about it, and now they're pushing for it to be on the big screen, so there's definitely a sequel coming up. And with Fantastic Beasts, the thing that I was so annoyed about was because this year they were meant to release the third film for the trilogy.
Okay.
And it's not going to happen because of the virus. But yeah, where they left off the second Fantastic Beasts film was astonishing. Like, I know I walked out the cinema with Tom and we were just talking about all the various things that could possibly happen, or like all the various things that's leading up to this. It's such a very secretive kind of film. It really keeps you guessing. So if you've watched the Harry Potter franchise and then you watch Fantastic Beasts, like, obviously you know certain characters are definitely alive, but it's a case of, oh, how is this person related to them? How is this going to go down? Like, how does this have an impact on their life? So it keeps you guessing, and that's what I absolutely loved about it.
Yeah.
Because you're left going, no, I need to see that next film now. And that was one of the greatest things about, like, the Harry Potter franchise as a whole, to be honest.
Yeah, I liked Harry Potter. I haven't watched Fantastic Beasts. And we'll move on. Because I can't really say that much more about it.
Keeping with the sort of fantasy and going from a novel to big screen theme, the next one is The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yes. And I'm going to completely shoot myself in the foot here. I don't like Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
It confuses me. And when I say confuses me, I don't mean Lord of the Rings confuses me, because I understand the premise, I understand everything about it.
Yes.
But the thing that confuses me is that's the kind of world that I love. Like, I love fantasy. Like, all the games that I play, like, my favourite game series is Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
I love that whole universe, but I hate Lord of the Rings. And I can't really put my finger on why. I just don't like it.
No, that's a fair point. Like, especially considering you're so big into your sort of fantasy things.
Yeah, I feel like it's just not. It's not the right kind of fantasy for me.
No, that makes sense. I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. Me and Tom made the mistake of watching all of the extended editions of Hobbit and Lord of the Rings back to back.
Oh god, that's like 2
It
days.
was so painful, it got to a point where we actually had to go outside for a while.
Imagine that, having to go outside.
Yeah.
That is how you know you've reached an all-time low.
No, it's like, when you're binge watching something, normally you just want to sit there and keep going, don't you? But the fact that you get to a point where it's like, okay, I have to take a break from this, you're like, yeah, this is a killer binge watch.
I just want to also apologise for any ruffling that happens. I'm trying to drink water and
yeah, and I've got a squeaky chair that I'm sitting on, so
a bit like
doesn't help. But yeah, like Lord of the Rings was such a great franchise. I read the books growing up as well, because my uncle's really big into it. So he actually taught me to watch the first, second, and third Lord of the Rings film. I do remember going again a second time and watching one with my dad as well.
Yeah.
And then same with the Hobbits. Each time it came out, I went to the cinema to watch them. Like there were, I don't know how to explain it without being repetitive or giving away spoilers, but
there's a ring, yeah. These kids get the ring. They got to destroy the ring because the ring is bad.
Yeah, like
that's the whole premise.
Again, with the whole thing, because they split up into different groups and they take different paths. Like you're not following a single story all the way through, so you can see multiple things going on at once, if that makes sense. So it doesn't get boring or dull, because while you're focused on one group doing one sort of quest, another are off doing something completely different to them, or they're in the middle of a big war or fight. And I think it worked really well on the big screen because of how epic the battles are. Like, it's not like a little hand-to-hand fight. Like, these are massive sort of...
It's kind of like all-out war.
Yeah. So seeing that on a massive screen made it absolutely amazing. Like, I thought it was just awesome.
Yeah, so I did really like the fight scenes. I think the fight scenes were incredible, and the way that they kind of like choreographed it and pulled it off was great. But for me, it was annoying because it went from less of being like a fantasy world to being more so like a medieval sort of battleground.
Right, I get ya.
Yeah, so it wasn't like my favourite thing with fantasy is the incredible weapons, the incredible magic, and all the stuff that comes down, like the incredible beasts and stuff. But then with Lord of the Rings, it was just more like, oh yeah, these geezers have a sword, they're gonna do sword fighting now. Oh look, some of these geezers have horses. Oh look, what's that? Oh, it's a lance. It went to be more like, it went from more Elder Scrolls to chivalry.